The Veteran Project. For vets, by vets. We are not responsible for any trauma, PTSD, tinnitus, or flashbacks during this podcast. Hooray!
So you were telling me that, well, when you and Mom met, you went into the wreserves.
Right, yeah. Went in the reserves.
You kind of just went in.
Yeah, I didn't even tell her.
All right. The 9/11 happened.
9/11 happens.
Don't unpack.
Right. I went to school, came home, left, came home, left. So I missed my second, third, fourth wedding anniversaries in a row.
Okay. So,
which kind of, honestly, you know, the one thing I'm very, very thankful for through everything is that she's still with me. Mm-hmm. I gave her a bazillion reasons to leave.
Yeah.
And you know, her, I don't know, her strength, her grace, her everything. She's still with me. And you were there. We celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary down in Florida. It was a great time, and I can't imagine being with anyone else.
And that was like your actual ceremony. Because did you guys have an actual ceremony?
Yeah, no, we did the
wedding.
Oh yeah, we did the full Catholic mass. It was you would have been miserable.
Probably would have.
Yeah, yeah.
Kathleen's a good woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, mom's a shit.
Yeah, she's good. She's good. Yeah, they call me Dad. She's Mom. That's because he could be my prom baby. Legit.
He said he was going to Fort Huachuca down in Arizona for military intelligence school, and then when he came home, he had an apartment in Easton, and we were there for dinner. It was during the holidays, and he said, "Dad, I got my orders," and I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "Well, I can't tell you, but I can tell you this: there's a lot of sand," and I knew that he was going over there. And I'll tell you, when he came home, my daughters and I drove down to Fort Dix because that's where he came in at.
Yep.
And when he came walking in, we had this thing in Vietnam we called the 1,000-yard stare. Mm-hmm. You just knew somebody saw some shit.
Yeah.
And I knew then. I could see it on his face. He was not the same son that went over.
Yeah. And what made you nervous about that?
I didn't want him to end up being like me.
Yeah. And, you know, when you saw him come home and he had that 1,000-yard stare, and I mean, it obviously gave you the craziest flashbacks, you know, when you set foot off of, and, you know, the disrespect that you guys received getting off that plane.
Yeah.
But did you do anything? Did you guys talk? Like it
wasn't until years later.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah. He walked up to me and he hugged me and he said, "Dad, I'm home." And I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
And one of my thoughts was, I'm just glad my wife didn't have to live through that.
Yeah. When you talk about the 1,000-yard stare, you know, it's the stare that all of us, you know, just have, you know, because you leave someplace for so long, you see death, and, you know, like, 1,000-yard stare is fucking crazy, you know. I mean, a good example, just a couple weeks ago, I was at that fucking Veterans Day event, and talking to these guys that work for Black Rifle Coffee, and I'm looking at this guy coming down the stairs, and the dude's talking to me, and he's like, "Are you looking at me?" He's like, "Holy shit, you're looking right through me." And I'm like, it's like, it's no disrespect, man. I'm just, you know, that guy almost just fell, you know. So, but it's a hard look for us, and we know we have it. We know it's there. And we still do it.
I don't know about that. I don't know that you know it's there all the time. I remember, so when I got home, it was, I don't know, maybe like a week before Christmas when I got back to Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about that, right? I was basically the first wave coming back from Iraq, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't know what the fuck to do with us.
Yeah.
You know? And of course, when you're there, you're going to just say whatever you need to say to go home.
Yes.
You're not going to admit to anything. No, I'm good.
Yep.
You know? Good to go. And we went to my Aunt Kay's house, and Peggy's house. It was for family Christmas dinner, whatever. It was just like family get together for Christmas, and that's my out of the two families, that is the more liberal family.
Yeah.
It's the Costello side, and my Aunt Mikey, she, I don't know, they started talking about the war, right? And I couldn't believe that I was at a family gathering when half of my platoon was still back in Iraq, right? So like one of the things with a reservist is you can only be deployed for X amount of time.
Yeah.
And then they have to send you back,
Yeah.
right? So my reserve unit, not everyone was activated the year before, right? So we showed up to work like, yeah, you guys got to start out processing. You know, this is when you guys are leaving. I'm like, well, wait, what about these? You know, so I had to leave half my people behind, right? And everybody's having a good time and doing whatever. I just remember sitting there. This is the first time I noticed it. I was sitting in a chair, and I was just like staring through a fucking wall because everybody's laughing, having a good time. People are arguing about the legitimacy of the war, right? And I finally said, hey, I'm fucking sitting right here. You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, I still have people over there that might fucking die.
Yeah.
You know, can you have a little respect? And everyone just shut up and then, you know, kind of, they changed the subject and they just carried on. Even Aunt Mikey changed the subject.
Yeah.
And she was not known to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, she was not known to do that.
Oh my God, could she get under your nerves?
But, you know, that was the first time I noticed that 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
You know.
It's like everything's just kind of like blocked out.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I know when I got home, one of the things that I found very eerie was the silence.
Yeah.
That, you know, I worked at night.
Yeah.
And I had to sleep during the day, whatever that meant, right?
Yeah.
It was never quiet. You could
Yeah.
always hear gunfire. You could always hear explosions. It was a surreal existence, you know, because you're going to work, you're doing whatever it is you got to do, you know, and theoretically at any moment something could happen and you could die, right? Like you said, it was really boring.
Yeah.
Until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if that was like that for you, but that was my experience.
When he walked into it was like a gymnasium.
Yeah.
They filed them all in, and on the stage they had the boots of the guys that got killed.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I could see his face, you know, and it was like he was very thin, you know, and he just had that look, and I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, he's going to see these boots and he's going to have some type of reaction, you know.
Yeah. We did when we got back, before we went home on leave, we did our memorial service for the guys that we lost, and then the Purple Heart ceremony. It was like a 5-hour ceremony. It sucked. But when they got to reading the guys in our company's names, you know, that passed away, dude, when your knees get weak, that was the point. Like, all these fucking hard charging motherfuckers that I was with, you know, we were just bawling our eyes out.
Yep.
You know, and then just the drive home, you know, the 1,000-yard stare while you're driving. It's like, fuck, you know. I remember how heartbroken I was with that. You know, I don't know why they did it when they did. You know, because that was a long drive. And And I mean, I'm sure it was this, the same thing for a lot of the Vietnam guys that, when the war ended in Vietnam. It's like, fuck, it's over. Like, what do we do now?
I mean, you go to me. I went from doing something very, very important to being unemployed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to figure out what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
It's an adjustment.
It takes a while for you to accept. Like, you remember how I used to be?
Yeah.
I felt like I was owed everything, but I finally just understood it one day. Like, okay, I'm not owed shit.
No,
I did volunteer my time.
Yeah.
Thank me for that. But, I create what I do now.
Yeah, like what was the percentage of people that served in Vietnam?
1%.
Just one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually I feel like it's a little less than 1% for us. So like when you think about, and our war was a little different too because I only did one tour, but there are people that have gone back 3-4 times.
Yeah.
And it's just different. I mean, we expect people to understand or to appreciate whatever it is. I don't even know the words to think of, but we expect people to have some sort of something when it comes to veterans in our service and whatnot. And
You guys were more patriotic than we were.
Yeah.
I remember going to the AFES building in Boston for an induction the morning we were leaving to go to boot camp. And they had everybody get in one line. And then a Marine colonel and 2 MPs came in. And they walked down the line. And they went to every third guy and said, "You're in the Marine Corps." And these guys are fighting in line, trying to switch positions because I never knew they drafted into the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
I thought you get drafted, it was
Yeah.
strictly Army.
Yeah.
No. And these guys literally fighting. They didn't want to be. And then in the same building, we get guys dressed in skirts with clown faces on because they didn't want to be go through the physical because they didn't want to get
Yeah.
drafted. It was just crazy. It was unbelievable.
And you volunteered,
I
right?
joined, yeah.
You joined.
Imagine that. Imagine if they did that now.
People will be losing their fucking minds. They did that now.
Yeah.
It's I don't know why the 1% expect the 99% to understand the sacrifice that the 1% give.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we all know between us what we've done, and we're proud of each other for that.
Yep.
And I think that's what makes this 1% fucking tight.
Yeah.
Every and all veterans. Doesn't matter if you're a cook. I appreciated that fucking meal, man. Like I was looking forward to that fucking meal, and I think that's what makes our fighting force different, than all these other countries. Because, yeah, they have their 1%, but dude, this is America. We got a fucking broad, rich history of fucking shit up.
Yeah.
And we're proud of that. We're proud to be a part of it. We're proud to be in those history books.
I know back then, if you were in a bar and see you were at an installation where there was different branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and if a civilian came in and they were non-military and they started some shit with, whether it was a soldier, a sailor, or a Marine, they were in a world of shit because we came together, okay, and you were going to pay. You don't fuck with us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've had our moments sometimes.
Yeah, we've had a few moments. Yeah.
No,
Because it didn't matter then if you were Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps.
Yeah.
You were in the military.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like he's a Marine, I'm Army. We make fun of each other all the fucking time, right? And God help you if you're in the Navy, because we're both making fun of you, But it's when push comes to shove, we're going to be there for each other.
Yep.
I think that's something that I didn't truly appreciate until I was out. You know.
Well, you don't really understand it until you're out. You know, because you just know one thing, and that's the Army, Marine, whatever branch you're in. That's all you know.
Yeah.
Until you get, you know, like in our organization, you get opened up to everybody, and you know, you enjoy spending time with those people, hearing their stories or whatever, you know. And that's the cool thing about, you know, being a vet. You know, we're a diverse group of people, and we come from all walks of life.
Sure do.
You know, and it's cool. You know, I mean, did I ever think I'd be sitting down with the fucking Vietnam vet on my podcast? No. Not at all, because you guys are fucking hard to talk to. So, well, not talk to, just to get to talk. So, and
Like it was hard for a long time.
yeah, and I'm sure it's still hard. You know,
My like I said, my I was 18 years later, and my wife said to me, "You're fucked," and I said, "What?" She said, "You need help," and it was like, "Why?" And she said, "You just need help."
yeah,
And I actually found a woman in Boston. Her name was Marie Casella. She was a counselor. She served in Vietnam. She was wounded over there. And, you know, sitting down talking to a regular counselor that's never been in the military, you might as well be talking to a fucking wall.
yeah,
You know, but you talk to like us guys, you know, we've been there, you know.
Right.
It's easy to open up. And with her it was good, and you know, she was a no bullshit type of woman, you know.
yeah. I had no, like, that's actually right now my therapist is a civilian therapist. You know, doesn't deal with many veterans. I think I may be the only one. But like the difference between the VA and non, you know, I feel like you can say more, because if you're talking to a regular VA therapist, they've heard the story 1,000 times, you know. But now you're talking to this person where they're learning about you, so they're pulling more stuff out of you. You know, I mean, I had my times at a VA appointment, and I was like, I got nothing to accomplish at this. Like,
Yeah.
did I talk? I don't know who I was talking to. I could have talked to a fucking robot, and you know, they didn't even say a damn word. So
I remember there was one time my wife and I were talking to, it's like a marriage counselor type person, and he started asking questions about the war and everything, and I'm like, why are we talking about that? That's not why I'm here.
yeah,
Right? But a lot of what Kathleen and I were going through was sort of because of my reaction to,
yeah,
and I didn't understand it at the time, whatever, but I think the point is, like, sometimes you do need that outside perspective
Yes.
to help kind of push you in. I didn't listen for, I was probably another couple of years, whatever, but you know, it's interesting how stuff comes up,
yeah,
you know, and it takes time for you to be able to see it. You know,
yeah. It's like sporadic conversations, you know, like you could be talking about everything and anything, and then you all of a sudden you're like, well, back, you know, when I was in the Marines, I saw this dude, you know, get shot in the leg, and the guy's like, really? And I'm like, this is my PTSD talking to you. You know, I am all over the place. I'm gonna be all over the place, circling back, and you know, it's gonna take us years to finish this conversation.
yeah.
So, and
I think a lot of us have survivor's guilt too.
yeah, there's a lot of guys that, you know,
I did for the longest time. I had this kid from Minnesota standing next to me, and
what was his name? Well, you don't have to say the full name, just
Mike.
Mike.
He got killed by. I mean, he was like where my son is,
yeah,
and I was thinking, I know he had a family. Why him, not me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy.
And like, there is no answer for that at all. You know, it's just. I mean, we've all seen so many lucky people, and you know, it's not because of praying. It's not because you did a good deed. It's just the way that fucking war is. You know. And that's what we sign up to do, though. We want to bleed for our country. We're willing to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if "want to" is the right word.
Well,
I didn't want to bleed.
I mean,
You know, was it Patton? Is like your job is to make the other person die, not
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
something like
Yeah,
that. I
Make
don't
them
know.
die for their country.
Yeah.
if I step
right.
on an IED, fucking,
You know.
I know I was doing my job.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
And we were doing, you know, the guys that we've lost, they were doing their job, and
It seems like you guys had a lot more of that shit than we did. Those IEDs and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, we had what they call booby traps.
yeah,
You know, punji sticks.
those are like fucking. There were just so many. You
The one thing I can tell you about, like the IEDs, right? So, you had like actual MRAPs and shit, right? Like the mine type vehicles
on the outskirts of Marja, that's where they were because the roads were so tight until
Yeah.
we could get engineers into plowing.
So I was driving I had a Humvee with soft doors, right? And that was my vehicle, right? So, the engineers put metal plates on the doors, right? What's going on, Jay?
Oh, so I'm just gonna bring up a visual for you guys.
Oh, thanks.
And yeah, you guys can keep talking.
Yeah.
This ain't showing
So-
to everybody, but I'm gonna show everybody what you're talking about here.
Yeah, so they're canvas doors, like you can see on the picture. Anyway, the engineers, they put metal plates on the doors, and then they put sandbags on the floor, and that was supposed to protect you from a fucking IED, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, give me a break, just fucking leave it alone, you know,
Yeah.
because it's not going to do anything.
Now, did you guys stack sandbags inside the Humvees?
Yeah, on the floor. Yep. That's what we drove, and
We had those shit little Jeeps.
Oh yeah, the
And
Willies.
we had
Yeah.
6x.
I would love to have a Jeep. One of those. I'd love to have one of those little Jeeps now.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun little vehicle. But that's pretty much what my Humvee looked like, except for it was tan. It was tan, but that's what it looked like.
Yeah, you got a picture of you sitting in one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't know then, because you just told me now, because I would have
Yeah.
really freaked out.
Well, I mean, look. I mean, we went to war and we weren't prepared for that war. You know.
Not
That's
at
why I
all.
have one of them.
Those things, the ultimate off. Yeah.
And then this is what we had.
Yeah.
Now everybody can't see what I'm talking about right now, but I will put it up in the when this actually airs. So we had the MRAPs, and I mean, these things were badass. I mean, you
Yeah,
could
they
run
seem-
over a mine, keep it rolling, you know. But then they started coming out with advanced IEDs. You know, what were they called? EFPs.
Yes.
And those were shooting right through the cabs of these, and they were intelligent. You know, they everybody that acted like they weren't smart or they didn't know what they were doing over there, they knew what they were doing. Trust me. And they made it so some of these IEDs would shoot right through the cabs of these, and people would get sucked out the other side. You know, it's unbelievable what they were coming up with.
No, these in Vietnam they would take unexploded ordnance, 500-pound bombs, 250-pound bombs, and they would use those. They'd wire them up,
Yep.
or they would take them apart and make a bunch of different bombs
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
them. Is that what they did? In
Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They would in Iraq anyway. There was a couple times they would daisy chain the shells, right? And so you could get more than just one vehicle. There was.
You ever watch the movie Hurt Locker?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, with the EOD tech and all that.
Oh, yeah. That's
Iraq, I mean, that kind of explained Iraq to the T.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was just such a. It was so weird, you know. Because
Minesweeper, legit, the video game Minesweeper.
You're driving down the road and you're just hoping that it's your lucky day, you know. And I had lucky days, right? But there was a cook in my battalion, who he was stationed in up near Balad, I think, and he went on a convoy because he was bored, right? And so he was the gunner in a one of the vehicles, and that vehicle ran over a mine, and he's dead, right? Because he was bored, you know. That's when I stopped volunteering to go on convoys, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I'm going to pull up a couple images here. This is the Humvee that you were talking about. Let me see if I can pull this up.
We had mules, too. Did you have mules?
No.
You know what they were?
I know what mule. Wait, like the friggin' animal mule?
No.
Oh.
It was a little platform. It was almost like a
Like a little motorcycle?
recreational vehicle.
Oh, okay.
And we mounted a 105 on it.
Something like our side-by-sides today, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Razor.
Oh, look it up. What the fuck was a mule?
You're right. Yeah, I'll pull that up in a second. So, Chris, if you want to talk about the Humvee here. Hold on, let's get back to the Humvee. There we go. So this is your generation in Iraq.
Yep, that's what I drove.
Not so much protected.
No, not protected at all. Got you from point A to point B.
Now, how efficient were they? I mean, they were diesel. You know, did they break down a lot?
My Humvee was tip top. We had no issues with my Humvee. It ran fine. You just put gas in it and it went.
Good stuff. Next, we have the Jeep.
That's what we had.
Now, what were the major problems you guys had with the Jeeps over there, Bob?
They tip over easy. You really couldn't go fast with them.
So then we come up to the MRAP. Now, these machines, they were amazing. We had these in Afghanistan. Didn't have them in Iraq yet. But yeah, in Afghanistan, this is what we were rolling around in. We did our own gun truck missions. You know, we had to move our own equipment and the engineers. But these things were great. But again, very top heavy. You know, you could see how much clearance they have underneath these things. But they were designed to take a blast and get you out of Dodge. So
it's a heavy duty vehicle, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
That's a lot different than Humvee.
A lot different.
A lot different.
I had the honor to be in MRAP's my second tour, and it was fun.
Yeah.
But it's like a whole command center in there.
Now, did you guys have the what was I gonna say? The Crow system.
Crow system.
Yeah, so the Crow system was
These are mules.
There's the mules. Okay, I know it.
Look at that thing.
I'm gonna pull up an image here, the mule,
We used to mount the 105 on them.
for everybody to see.
And, you know, it was good for carrying supplies and
Yeah.
stuff, see rations and shit.
I did this funny.
But you had no protection.
Oh yeah. Just duck and drive as fast as you can.
Yep.
So there's the mule.
That's a 50 cal, right?
That, I can't see.
Yeah, that's
that's a
50, yep.
Oh yeah. What a death trap that thing is, huh?
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Just
I know
be
the guys.
zigzagging around.
The guys in 1968 during Tet that were in Hue,
Yeah.
those mules were very effective.
I mean, I'm sure just they loaded ammo can after ammo can
Yep.
onto that just to get to the guys on the
I'm
lines.
glad I wasn't there then.
That doesn't even look safe,
It's not.
right? I mean, there's no protection. You know, like the guy's standing with a 50 cal, and he's just gonna get even the drive. That's just.
Is there even a
crazy.
seatbelt?
No, nothing.
That would be so cool if we could find a guy that was whipping one of those around during the Battle of Tet onto this podcast
Yeah.
and just ask him,
That thing is
You
crazy.
definitely shit yourself, dude.
Yeah, I want to drive one. I want to build one. Actually, I mean, look, they look so simple.
Yeah.
You know,
Damn.
were they 4-wheel drive?
Yeah, and they hauled a lot of supplies too. You know, I talked to a couple of guys that were there during Tet at Hue, and the Hue was a really crazy place in '68, and they came in, and it was the Citadel. It was like building. You know, we fought jungle. Hue was a city.
Yeah.
You know, it was a provincial capital, and a lot of the buildings were off limits because they belonged to a monk or whatever, and
Yeah.
you know, finally said, "Screw that." You know, they're killing our fucking Marines. We don't give a shit anymore. So they brought the mules in with the 105s, and
Fucking sent it.
oh yeah.
So, Johnny Cash, you want to give a shout out to our sponsors?
Yes, absolutely. Pins in Kingston.
The Veteran
and
Project
Milford.
is sponsored by Pins. Thank you so much for
they
Pins for giving our veterans a
hooked
complimentary
all of our guests up.
certificate to Pins in
So,
Kingston
Bob,
for
if you
building
like to
Massachusetts.
go to play
Also,
video games,
be sure to check
do
out
some
Pins
bowling,
in Milford with their newly
maybe throw some
renovated
darts.
recreation room. With
Pins,
3 bays of
you're gonna be
champion
getting
axe
It's all axe thrown.
and
yeah, they got
4
axe throwing.
new bays for darts.
If you want to feel all
system.
mighty and
For
manly.
more information, visit Pins.
Again. Yeah, so you get a gift. They gave us a
See.
gift card for you guys, so it's because I sent you yours, right? I think I did.
I don't think you did. I think you said you were going to.
Oh fuck! All right, well I got it.
Yeah, it's
No, I'll go back and look. So Pins, thank you so much. You guys are awesome, and yeah, just I will be getting there soon. We're gonna do an episode there at some point.
We should definitely.
Yeah, we should do an
Maybe
episode.
make a better commercial than that.
Dude.
It's not a bad one. It came out pretty good, but
That commercial
we could do better.
is like legit, like a 1960 porn.
You just needed the stash. That's all.
So, but well, I mean, we've come to the end. I mean, this was a pretty quick hour.
Yeah.
So, and I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
You are more than welcome to come on again.
Okay.
Chris, same thing, man.
Yep.
You guys are great, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving
You also.
and a great Christmas.
Same.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next week. So next week, you will be seeing again Ali Rodriguez. So have a good one, y'all. and
Johnny
take
Cash, another episode in the books. That's it for today, but the journey doesn't end here. Every veteran has a story, and every story deserves to be heard. If you're a veteran with a message, a challenge, or a triumph to share, we want you to join us.
Your experience matters to us, and together we can inspire others and remind the world what resilience truly looks like. Until next time, stay strong, stay connected, and remember, you're never alone in this fight. We'll see you on the next episode.
Cool.
The Veteran Project. 4 vets, 5 vets. We are not responsible for any trauma, PTSD, tinnitus, or flashbacks during this podcast.